AQA GCSE Religious Studies. Let's look at the 12-mark question. And here's a question which says, for Christians, the creation story is true. Now, you have to look at it from 2 points of view. You have to find a way to shoot down that statement, and then you have to find a way to revive the statement. Shooting down the statement, no, for Christians, it's not literally true. It's not necessarily true literally. What is truth anyway? And so on. And then you're going to say, but on the other hand, for many Christians, the creation story in the Bible is true, literally true, for whatever reason. So how do you tackle a 12-mark question like that? Well, I like to look at it like this. Think of a duck flying through the air. A hunter shoots the duck down with 2 bullets. The duck falls to the ground, flapping, dying. The hunter then calls a vet. The vet comes and gives the duck 2 injections and brings the duck back to life again. And that's how you tackle a 12-mark question. First of all, shoot down that statement. For Christians, the creation story is true. Oh, no, it's not. Shoot it down. There are many Christians who don't believe it's literally true. And then you're going to revive the statement. On the other hand, and then make a conclusion and say, having weighed up all the evidence, I believe that. So let's look at shooting down the duck as it flies along. Well, the first thing you could say is that many Christians understand truth in different ways. It's not literally true, but it's true in a spiritual way or a symbolic way. You could say that the creation story was never meant to be scientific, and the Bible was never meant to be a scientific textbook. But it's still true because God created the universe. Or you could say that the stories in the Bible, particularly creation stories, could go back to about 5,000 years BCE. Well, that's a long time ago, and people then had very little knowledge of the origins of the universe. But Christians today would say, well, yes, the stories are still true, although now we know that God created the universe through the physics of the Big Bang. Or you might use another point, and you only have to have 2 and develop them, but you might want to say the parables in the New Testament were made up stories, but they were still true. They still had a truth about them. And so the creation stories are just like the parables that Jesus told and made up, but still had a truth about them. Well, now the duck is flapping, and you're going to have to try to revive the duck. And you're the vet, and you're going to give the duck 2 injections. Now, these are 2 points you're going to make. And you're going to say, well, no, on the other hand, for many Christians, the Bible is the main source of their teaching and their beliefs. And so you must accept the creation story, because if you don't, well, then you can't accept anything that's in the Bible. Then it all must be wrong. And develop that a little bit as well. Then you could say, for your second injection given by the vet, you could say the story of creation in Genesis chapter 1 states that the beginning of creation, the world was formless and dark and empty, and then God created light. And that fits in with evolution. It fits in with the way we now know scientifically that the world was made, and the sort of order of the creation. And then perhaps the most important injection, the most powerful injection you can give to the flailing duck is to say that for Christians, God is all-powerful, God is all-knowing, so only God knows how the world was actually created, and God has the power to create a world in 6 days and then have another day to rest. Then you come to your conclusion. In conclusion, having weighed up all the evidence, I believe that, and then you finish off your 12 marker. Full marks.